everybody, and welcome to the History and Chill channel. And today I'm just gonna make another video that feels more freely, I guess. Last weekend I was watching Netflix with my girlfriend, and we watched the first two episodes of the show called Monster, the Ed Gein story. And I gotta say, it's really intriguing and horrifying at the same time. But it's I definitely feel like it's an interesting show, an interesting take on telling the story of a serial killer. So I wrote some little notes that I wanted to discuss. But I only watched the first two episodes. I'm just gonna share my thoughts on it, and when I have watched the entire season, I will make another video and see if I was right, or see if I changed my mind on certain topics, or I don't know. But yeah, definitely an interesting show. The first thing that really makes you feel like, whoa, what's this, is obviously the shocking scenes where the main character, played by Charlie Hunnam, I believe, very good actor. He also plays Jax in Sons of Anarchy. I'm not sure about the name, but it's been a while. But yeah, Charlie Hunnam, definitely a great actor. I like seeing him in all kinds of roles. But you can kind of what I meant to say was, there are these scenes where you can see Ed Gein, or Charlie, pleasuring himself in a certain way without going into much details. But that was like, when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is not gonna be like a quote unquote normal telling of a story. I don't know, it was like kind of like meant to shock the viewer, I think, and the entire show is made like that. But other than this shocking effect and this well acted performances, I also have this feeling that it's a different take on telling a story, or telling a story about a serial killer, or because the title is also Monster, the Ed Gein story. And I feel like in the first two episodes they play with the perspectives of society on a monster, because you can kind of like, they tell the story of Ed Gein in a traditional way. You know, you can see them in their house with the controlling mother, who is like totally dogmatic in her Christian reasoning and very hostile towards other women, and wants to control Ed Gein, and yeah, you can see Ed Gein as a victim of his education and of the parenting by his mother. But that also kind of like fits the narrative of how they would normally approach telling a story about a serial killer. You know, like, there's this stereotypical thing. Yeah, they show the person, they show his childhood, and oh no, his childhood was terrible, so he became a monster. But what they do is they also add another perspective from an actor who plays Ed Gein 10 years later in the 60s. And you can see this actor, he is homosexual, and he kind of like, the director who casts him also says, like, yeah, I cast you because you also have a secret, just like Ed Gein. And that was like, plays with the time frame. You know, back then, the actor felt, yes, I am also a monster because I'm a sodomite, and what they I mean, like whatever they said back then about people who were homosexuals, and that plays with the perception of what being a monster is like, you know, because in the same scenes, you also see that the director that hires the actor to play Ed Gein, he is, how do you say it, voyeurism, yeah, voyeurism, I think it's an English word, but he is secretly watching girls getting dressed in the dressing rooms. So that's also like a form of, you know, paraphilias, you know, like out of the ordinary sexual desires and stuff like that. But he's a successful person, and I think the show it wants you to like perceive that as yeah, you know, like it just plays with the perception and with the time frame and with what's normal and with what becomes more normal. Also, because they say that Ed Gein, they say there's a phrase where somebody said, had Ed Gein not seen the photographs of Auschwitz, then he would just be another simpleton without anything, without without having done anything wrong in his life. But because he saw the photographs, he was thinking like, wait, is this something people do to each other? Do they murder each other? And he just was like looking at that and thinking, hey, I should try it too. And that kind of like also is a weird perspective on such matters, because yes, he has an awful childhood, and yes, his mother is crazy, and that's also very well depicted in the show. And Ed has this kind of like affection towards his mother. Meanwhile, he is completely controlled by her. But they also just say like, yeah, he saw the pictures, and that's why he did it. You know, so suddenly it's like that perspective that is being brought up is like everybody could become or be a monster, and that is also what they are playing with when they show like the gay actor who has to play Ed Gein when he is, yeah, you know, doubting himself, and he says, yeah, I need therapy, and they will like electrically perform electrotherapy on him, which is also like a barbaric form of torture, but that is the narrative back then. So back then they perceived doing that as normal, you know. They're just like, oh yeah, you're gay, we can fix that, and we'll electrocute you. And this entire like show, it plays with what's the norm, what's perceived as the norm, what is breaking the norm, and who is breaking the norm. And yeah, that's really interesting for me. I really like the show. I am really curious where it will go as well. I hope it won't go. I won't become worse than it is, because I've watched 2 episodes, and the things that I thought when watching it was, oh, this is really an interesting take. This is not just another telling of a story in a one-sided way. This has multiple layers to it, and I love it when a show has multiple layers to it, and where I can be like, as a viewer, with what does the director mean with this, and what do you want? What are the intentions with that phrasing, or that lighting, or that, I don't know. I love just thinking about the things, obviously, and I'm really curious where this will go. Yeah, I'm excited to watch watch the entire show, but I don't like binge watching, so we always tend to spread like episodes. So maybe in 2 or 3 weeks I will make another video when I watch the entire show with a full reflection on the show. But I also like wanted to mention the scenes where he has these psychotic episodes where he imagines himself being at parties with Ilse Koch, and yeah, which is infamous Nazi camp commandant. I think in Auschwitz, but I'm not sure. No, Buchenwald. Yeah, not in Auschwitz. She was called the bitch of Buchenwald, I believe. But you can like see. Yeah, that's also something I wanted to say, because I think I read somewhere that that those scenes they don't have anything to do with the story of Ed Gein. And also a friend of mine, she said, like, no, that's fiction. That link, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the story of Ed Gein at all, other than what I watch in the show, obviously. But I think that they made that bridge because it completely fits what they are trying to show in the entire picture, you know. Because Ilse Koch, the bitch of Buchenwald, she was this camp commander. She was doing horrible things to the prisoners. You can see it like in the episodes as well. Her children are. She's teaching her children to shave the heads of the prisoners, and she says like, yeah, you have to do it because they are under humans. They have lies and blah blah blah, and they have to blah blah. They have to, yeah, you have to be cruel to them. And they show parties where she just like chases a woman while she's riding a horse inside the house, and everybody is laughing. All the Nazi officers are just laughing with a person being, yeah, like extremely humiliated and mistreated, obviously. But I think they probably added that that storyline because there's obviously because it fits, you know. Like, maybe Ed Gein didn't have this fascination with Ilse Koch, but if he had, it fits the narrative, you know. Because yes, Nazis, they did very atrocious things in concentration camps, and they perceived it as the norm, you know. They were like, we are superior, and they aren't even humans, you know. And which is why it's justified to be violent and be, you know, the worst human possible, you know. And that's why I believe that they show these scenes so explicitly, because it shows that humans are capable of the worst things when a certain norm is being set, or sometimes the English kind of like forms a barrier for me to express my thoughts really clearly. But I hope you know what I'm trying to say, you know, because what the Nazis did, it is for them it was normal to act towards that way towards Jews or Romas or Russian prisoners or political prisoners. They thought it was normal to be a monster towards them, and they also show in a series, in the episodes that I watched, they oftentimes they say, it's been said that that Ed Gein doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just like totally oblivious to what the norm is around what's normal to do towards other people or other women. You know, because somebody says like, no, Ed Gein, he can't do that because he wouldn't hurt a fly, you know. Because traditionally as well, somebody who would hurt someone is somebody aggressive and not like a weak figure like Ed Gein, who talks with a soft voice and stuff like that. And I mean, like, just to wrap it up, because I can ramble on and on about this kind of stuff. I think it's a great show. I watched 2 episodes. I'm really excited to watch the next episodes over the coming weeks and get you guys another, maybe more prepared reflection on the show. And I also really love the bridge with World War II and the atrocities that happened during concentration camps, because it perfectly fits the narrative that I think the director of the show wants to put in front of the audience. You know, what is the norm? Who breaks the norm? What is perceived normal behavior, and who is perceived as a monster in what time? So he just plays with these moral perspectives on who is a monster and who isn't. Because you watch the scenes in a concentration camp as a person in the 21st century with our norms, and you're like, yeah, obviously she's a monster. But the environment, all the other officers, they think it's completely normal to behave like that, to be so evil towards other humans. And for Ed, he also just doesn't realize he is being immoral. He just doesn't know. That's what the show is also saying. While on the other hand, also not, because they also show you like the history of how he grew up. And yeah, it's multi-layered, and I like the show. Even though it's really graphic and really shocking, I like it because it's multi-layered, and I like it when things have different perspectives and challenge the viewers. So I'm gonna leave it at this, and we'll talk in a few weeks, and we'll see what my final verdict of the series is. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video, I guess. Bye.